This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories. The question that I bet everyone had after watching the first episode of Loki was, why did the time heist have to happen? Why did the TVA, and specifically the three guys in charge, have to let all of this happen? And I think there's a really simple answer for this. This is a very interesting theory I have. I was just thinking of this. Why would the time heist have to happen? And I came into a moment where I realized something that would almost certainly make sense. That Tony Stark was the person who invented time travel in the MCU, and if it wasn't for him, the TVA wouldn't be able to exist, since, if you know, ways to think of it. One, he built the basis of time travel that they used, and he is the reason that they were able to exist. So, there's another reason, I think, and that might be that, I can't remember their names, but I think, let's just go with Time Masters, or Time Lords, whatever they're called, that they are actually frauds, and they didn't really, aren't the masters of time, but they weren't even the ones who created time travel. They possibly used, since from what I heard is that they exist at the end of the timeline, and were sent back, that possibly, that, I have two things to say, that, of course with the other frauds thing, is that they used Tony Stark's time platform to be able to go back in time and create the TVA, or if someone did create them, that the only time machine that existed in the future that still worked was Tony Stark's time machine, and that is why it had to happen, because they needed that time platform to create the TVA. And if you think of it, that really makes sense. Something has to happen. Something that had to happen was time travel being created, because although they don't want people traveling back in time to do selfish things, it still has to be created by someone. And if they go and undo every attempt of time travel, that means technically those time machines were either never created, or those people and the time machines were destroyed. So, of course, it is pretty obvious that they would have to have at least one or two instances of time travel being created, and an alternate timeline that's maybe not too different existing that can be pretty easily destroyed. Which is why I think that there might also be a slight parallel timeline that includes the Marvel TV shows, since they've been kind of confirmed not to be fully canon anymore to the main MCU timeline, although they still have happened. And for those TV shows, I'm not talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision, and Loki. I'm talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., all the Netflix shows, and a few more. Although I have only watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they were doing a bunch of time travel in that, and I think one of the biggest points of it is they may have wanted that time travel to exist also, and that has a way to branch back to the main timeline of, they figured that out, how to return from a point after you've created a bunch of different changes. And I think that might be another, possible backup timeline that they have, where things go similar enough. And I think that they may have that timeline set up and kind of hidden and not really invisible to anyone in the TVA as a backup just in case something goes really wrong in this timeline. Because I definitely think will happen because I think it's pretty obvious that the TVA is going to be evil. This will probably be very similar to Legend of Tomorrow Season 1, where we had the Time Masters in that one, and in it, they were able to be evil and corrupt, only wanting the timeline to go in a specific way, although it was for, a little better reason. It was still really selfish because it was trying to prevent the Thanagarian War, where they would be completely eliminated. They didn't really care about Earth being eliminated in this timeline. They only cared about their deaths, which they ironically caused. And I think that the TVA's time zone where they are is going to be very similar to the vanishing point in Legends, where they can't actually see the future there, since where they are is outside of time, and there are almost no timeline effects that can happen there, with possibly the exception of the TVA not existing at all, happening in the main timeline being the only thing that could really change it. I think that in Legends they went into no paradoxes like that, what I can think of, but I feel like they're trying to, of course, prevent the paradox with the time heist having to happen. And if it doesn't happen, they won't be able to exist because the basis of their time travel, which they clearly improved on, began with what Tony Stark created in Endgame. I also had another interesting one that just popped into my head. I think that a paradox might be created because possibly one or more of the Time Master's descendants, or Time Lords, I can't think of what their names are, sorry, but one of the descendants might have been killed in the snap, and that seems extremely likely since half the population was killed. And to fully fix the paradox that would create, since with time and them being in the far future, they wouldn't be erased if the events of, the first Avengers Infinity War and Endgame both happened. So I think that that's why, another reason why they would let it happen. But I feel like the time travel one is another good reason that will definitely be built in with this one. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please like the video, leave some comments, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. And may the force be with you.